Everyone, welcome back. It's Melanie, your She Shed Scrapper. So today I am back with a one-page layout, kind of piggybacking off of yesterday's layout. Same kind of sketch idea, I guess. So yesterday's layout only had one photo, but today I am actually going to be using two photos. I am trimming down my photos. At first I thought 4x4, but then I realized I wanted to map my photos and kind of have a pattern paper around them as well. So I believe I cut my papers to 3.5. I matted at 3 3/4, I believe, and then my pattern paper was 4 inches. I think that, or 4x4. I think that's how I did all of my trimming. And then I did cut my base paper down as well. I thought I cut it 10x10, but we will find out later on in this video it is not 10x10. I don't know how I got my measurements so wrong, but it still works. And ideally, I would have liked it 10x10, but mistakes happen, I guess, and I think it was too late to recut that paper when I realized it was wrong. So I am using the Reese Collection from Felicity Jane. My sister's shirt in the pictures have, she's got a purple shirt, and so Reese had some purple papers in it, and so I thought that would be the perfect collection for that. I actually had the 6x6 papers from the Reese Collection, so I did just trim those down to 4x4 as well. I decided to use the two purple patterns as my main patterns, and you can see that the other two have, well, one has purple in it, the other one is not purple at all, and that's kind of why I chose to just have that one as my border around my photo. I just did not have enough left over from this collection to only have purple papers. So you can kind of see the layout idea here. I did want to incorporate Mickey somehow. These two photos are my sister and my boys at Disney. And so I did want to incorporate Disney. And so I ended up cutting the Mickey in black, and then I had the journaling cards, 2x3 maybe, journaling cards from this collection as well. And one said "Today is magic," which I thought was the perfect saying for Disney. So I did cut that out in a scalloped circle as well. And this is kind of where you will see I realize that it is not 10x10. And the reason I realized it was because I have two 4x4 squares, so that's 8 inches, and I thought I could have an inch on each side, or each, top and bottom. Turns out when I placed this one right here, I realized there is not a full inch on the bottom. So I think it ended up being like 9 3/4. I don't know. I don't know how I made that mistake, but I did. And again, it was too late to tear all of them up to fix that mistake. So we just left it and we're running with the mistake. So if you do scrap lift, make sure it's 10x10. Anyways. So once I have my 4x4 squares, these ones actually lined up a little bit better than yesterday's layout. Yesterday's layout had some gaps in it. This one actually, that bottom right plaid paper was maybe a little too big. So I did kind of tuck that under each of the other adjoining papers, but it ended up working just fine. So I, again, have this Mickey and this Today is Magical ephemera. This layout here came together a lot easier for me than yesterday's layout. Yesterday's I did struggle with where to embellish, where to include the clusters. This one here just seemed kind of like a no-brainer, I guess, for me, that I would use the open squares as my embellishment placement, I guess. I do have this title at the top as well. That's Auntie's Boys. That is the alpha that came with this collection. I think I actually got the whole kit when I bought this collection. I used to just kind of get bits and pieces of what I liked, but I think I actually got the whole kit for this. Stamps, stencils, the whole shebang. This here is a light pink. Again, ideally, I would have loved that purple paper to the right. You can see it on the side. Was not the correct size. Just barely. Even with my mistake, it wouldn't have bordered my entire layout. So instead, I did use this light pink. It did bring in more of that color from a couple of those pattern papers on there. So I wasn't, completely mad about it. It's all in the same collection. So it does match. I just would have ideally liked to have that purple. So once I get this matted, I kind of just need to finish off my embellishing. And because I have that big black Mickey in the top left, I wanted to incorporate black somehow in in another place in the layout. I didn't want that to look out of place. Initially, I think I wanted this striped paper, and it's pretty and all, but kind of too busy, especially for having all of the patterns on the base page. I just felt like the stripes were too busy. Along with, I don't know, I kind of liked the plaid there, but then I didn't feel like that pink border let it stand out enough. I felt like it kind of all blended into the background. Here you can see I'm trying to decide, should I do black? And I even thought about doing like the top black and using that purple on the bottom, but I did not do that. Instead, I did actually go into my Disney iris container and look for some pieces. I liked that black and white polka dot, but I felt like the polka dots were too big. And so instead I found this black and white paper, and I loved it because one, it brought the black in, and two, the top photo on my layout, it's anti-gravity and it's like galactical treats or goodies or something. It says that in the photo, and so I felt like that those polka dots almost looked like stars and that we were kind of out in outer space, and it just matched that top photo so perfectly. So I was so excited to find this paper and mat the layout with that paper. And I didn't think that top left needed much more embellishing, but I did need to figure out the bottom right. And so what I ended up doing was going into my stash, actually my Disney stash, and finding black ephemera. And I love that film strip and that camera, and thought they matched or worked really nicely with that Today is Magical piece that I cut out. And with that Today is Magical, I am going to pop it up on some foam tape, and I am using foam tape from Hobby Lobby. I just went and got this to try out, so I am going to pop that up using that, so we'll see how that works. They are little cutout rectangles. I liked how the main embellishment clusters looked just the way they are, but I did want kind of some finishing touches. So I did go into my Scrap and Happy Studio stash, and I knew I had that little kind of purple camera, so I wanted to include that. And then I found a mini purple heart as well. And so I did bring more purple in. I don't scrapbook with a lot of purple, so it was nice to kind of use those up on this layout. But I did want to add just a couple of smaller finishing pieces as well. So I did go into my stash to the right in my, well, it's the playroom, but where I scrapbook when I'm inside. I have my We Are Memory Keepers 3-tiered cart, and in the top I have all my alphas and some embellishments. So I did reach into that and found an embellishment sheet from Close to My Heart, and so I just finished off the layout with a couple of black hearts, again just bringing in that black element. And then off camera I forgot I did add, I found some hearts that were part of the Reese collection, so I did add one to the camera. But that is going to finish off this layout. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you next time. Bye guys.